Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Binge List.
And we are reviewing Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, and they still haven't put the... Let me check it once again. They still haven't put the name of this episode up.
Yeah, they had the name as Game of Thrones 70 underneath the upload.
And they still don't have a name.
So we're going to call it Game of Thrones 70 for now. But what'd you think of that, man?
Of the episode?
Yeah.
I had some problems with it, but we'll get to that.
I thought it was fantastic, man. It was so action packed, and the visuals were incredible. Some of the stuff they did. So a lot of the theories out there are who's gonna die this episode.
Yeah,
and that was totally shocking for me because it was like nobody that I had on my short list.
I did a poll on my channel. I think I started this poll yesterday, and they only allow you to put 5 items on a poll. I put Brienne of Tarth, Grey Worm. I first asked the question, who dies on Game of Thrones tonight? I put Brienne of Tarth, Grey Worm, Jaime Lannister, Arya Stark, or Jon Snow. None of them. All of them still kicking.
This was such an epic scale of a battle, bigger than I thought it would be. I mean, I knew it was going to be huge, but this was just... I couldn't believe the amount of whites, the Night King's army, how big it was.
Right. And remember, Dany had something like 100,000 Dothraki.
Right.
Maybe around, what? How many Unsullied do you think are left now?
I don't know.
After the battle? No, there was a bunch of them. I mean...
That were still fighting when...
No, I'm talking about before the battle. How many... We know she had 8,000 out of Astapor, but then they went to Marine. They've been fighting all along. They had the whole fight with the Sons of the Harpy and whatnot.
Right.
So how many do you think are left? Maybe 7,000,
probably,
because they were getting killed in the street of Marine.
Right. Yeah. By the mass people.
So Dany has a huge army. We got the Knights of the Vale. We got all the Northmen. We got the Karstarks.
Right.
We got all these different armies. So, but even then, the Night of the Dead, the Army of the Dead is just huge. Because this episode started out with, it had a little preamble with characters setting up things, but they really didn't need to dwell on that. They just basically need to set up everybody's position.
Right.
So...
and you found out where everybody was.
And then they just started.
And then it started. And it started by what? I know you wanted to tell this part.
Well, Melisandre comes back.
Comes trotting into the scene from the direction where the...
And she turned the title battle. Now, did you realize how she turned the title battle?
I think you'll have to tell me your theory.
Well, we'll get to that. But
I know she lit the Dothraki swords on fire.
She likes the Dothrakis.
Their scythes.
Their scythes. It's called Iraq. Not Iraq. It's got some crazy name that George R. Martin came up with. But yeah, so she lights all their. I'll just call them swords. She lights all their swords on fire, which didn't seem to really have an effect on the whites because they charged.
It was so funny the way that they visually did this because you have Jon and Dany on their dragons up on this bluff overlooking Winterfell and the battlefield. And so it's at night. So when Melisandre lights those swords, the whole Dothraki army rides in for the initial attack on the dead. And all you see is like little tiny lights down there.
Yeah.
And those lights start going out one at a time. One at a time.
They kind of do that thing with the Hard Home. Remember when they closed the gates at Hard Home?
Right.
All those people are outside the gate, and you just see the snow coming in, and them getting covered, and then it just you hear all these people screaming, and then it just dies out. They pretty much did that again. So,
well, so who was that first person that died again?
Dolores Ed is what they call him in the books. I don't remember his last name, but Ed from the Wall. He's helping Sam out, and he gets stabbed in the back by a white. But
Sam fighting better than anybody thought he would.
Why was he even up there? Wasn't he supposed to be in the crypt?
He should have been in the crypt
because Tyrion and Sansa was in the crypt, and Varys,
and then all the women and children. And
yeah, so you got Brienne and Jaime fighting on the north, the western flank.
Yeah, in the western,
and everybody's getting pushed back. Everybody getting pushed.
Just sheer numbers, overwhelming numbers.
Yeah, the whites are just charging in and just overwhelming them. And at a certain point, they just start calling for a retreat because everybody's getting decimated. And Dany and Jon are flying around, but trying to find the Night King. But then a storm, the Night King causes a blizzard to come in.
Right.
So they're up there. They can't even see. So everybody's trying to get through the gates. And the Unsullied really rocked in this episode.
They did, man. They were
when everybody else was running, all the Northmen and everybody else was running. They held their ground. They protected the retreat. And Grey Worm was doing his little twirling thing with his spear, looking like a badass.
He even to save the castle, he sacrificed his men by. The Unsullied were, they were fighting, and he collapsed the bridge.
Yeah.
When Melisandre came and lit the trench on fire because the blizzard had blown in, and they were trying to give her the signal.
So this
to give Dany the signal to light the trench with the dragon, but she couldn't see.
Yeah. So Dany was supposed to fly down and light the trench. My problem with this whole plan, and it's a bad plan. They should have had designated people along the trench to light it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
That would have been, or set up some kind of contraption so that they could lit it from the wall or something. But they, of course, you got Jon Snow involved, and Jon Snow knows nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So that wasn't in the cards, and they needed to, I guess, to create a little bit more drama. But even though Melisandre came down and used magic to light it, it really didn't have effect on the whites because they all stopped, and they'll still be controlled by the White Walkers. So I guess the Night King tells them to sacrifice themselves, and they do the whole World War Z thing where they start tumbling over each other, and they pretty much create bridges across the trench, and then the other whites just walk over them. So. Yeah. Didn't really have an effect.
But then they end up piling up against the wall. Everybody, all the main characters, nobody is, except that one character is the only main character that has died so far. And
they're overwhelming the walls, but Jaime has to tell everybody to man the walls for some reason because there's nobody manning the walls.
Yeah, they came running in from a retreat but didn't man the walls yet.
Didn't they have people inside manning the walls? I didn't get that part. That was another part I was like, they don't seem to have their strategy together here.
Right.
Because they should have had a bunch, as soon as those guys started retreating, they should have had archers up there. Because Jaime had to tell them, go archers, go up through the top, go up to the... Do they really need to tell archers...
To be at the highest point.
Yeah. I mean, so there were some things happening. And, of course, Bran gets knocked down, and Jaime has to
go and rescue her.
Rescue
her
with his one arm. And
she had to rescue him, remember?
Yeah, it was...
Yeah. But, at the end of the episode, there was a lot more people standing up, implied that they were still alive. than what I thought.
Well,
but after
so they overwhelm the walls. They have a giant white who breaks down the
kicks the door in.
And once again, the Night King is a lot smarter than Jon Snow, because if you remember in the Battle of Bastards, they also had a giant who they didn't give any kind of weapon. They didn't give him a tree stump, a log, nothing.
And it didn't go well.
But the Night King was smart enough to give his giant
a tree.
Some kind of, I think it was a big log.
Big log or something.
So he's just swiping and knocking everybody out, and Lyanna Stark.
Mormont,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Lyanna Mormont.
Meets
him at the gate.
Yeah, and he grabs her and starts to crush her. But
you can hear her bones breaking, and you think he's about to kill her.
But then she stabs him in the eye and takes out. So Lyanna Mormont dies, but she dies taking out a giant white. So you're gonna hear a lot of people celebrating that online. So. And one other thing everybody's predicted is another stupid thing that I'm sure Jon Snow had, because Jon Snow's been in the crypts this whole time, these last 2 episodes. So I'm sure it was his idea to put all the defenseless people down in the crypt.
With all the dead people.
So let me go back up. So Dany and Jon are riding the dragons trying to find the Night King. They find him finally riding Viserion, and they start attacking him. Dany manages, Jon's dragon rips out the throat of Viserion and knocks the Night King off of Viserion. He goes tumbling to the ground, and Dany flies in and lights him up. So we're thinking, is that it? And it went on for a long time.
It was a good
60
minute. Seconds of just.
And I started to think as soon as it kept going on and on and on, I was like, it's not going to have an effect on him.
Nope.
And he walks out of it.
He was in the exact same pose after the fire went away that he was looking at her before she blew fire on him.
Right. So he walks out of the... Now, Dragonfire will not kill this man. We're looking at each other at this point thinking, it's over. What are they going to do?
I guess the other 3 episodes will be him taking over the rest of Westeros.
But Jon... Did Jon get knocked off? What happened? He got knocked...
Well, when Viserys and his dragon were fighting, his dragon got hurt as well, and went in for a crash landing.
Okay, so Jon sees the Night King walking out of that flame. He runs after him. Night King turns around and look at Jon and does the come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro.
And raises because his body's everywhere. He just raises all the people up
that have been killed already.
And Jon is surrounded. So Jon's about to die. And, of course, Daenerys comes in at the last moment and lights up all the people around him. And she tells him, go, go, go. And he runs in the castle. And so at this point, she gets knocked to the ground by a bunch of whites jumping on. They just come out of nowhere and just jump on the dragon. And the dragon Drogon flies off, leaving her there. And she's about to die. And Sir Jorah Mormont comes out of nowhere and starts defending her with his Valyrian sword.
And he's very successful at it.
But he gets stabbed in the back a bunch of times.
He gets stabbed in the back and he gets one in the gut. And
what I was leading back to when Night King raises all the dead, though, he also raises all the dead Starks in the crypt.
Yeah. And I thought of that.
So Lyanna Stark comes out of her grave.
There's a lot of people on Facebook that were talking about, is putting people in the crypt where all the dead are at a good idea?
Yeah, well, that's what I was leading to where I was talking about. Clearly, that was Jon Snow's.
Another one of his brilliant moves.
Because he knows nothing.
Jon Snow, you're not a tactician.
He makes a lot of dumb decisions. But then they do this haunted house thing with Arya where she's running around a library for like, it went on forever, like 15 minutes or something.
Right, the tower with the library in it.
And you're thinking, what in the world is going to happen now? What are they? I had no idea what was going on.
And then they had that moment with the Hound who, because he's so scared of fire, he just kind of like shut down, and he's like, no, they're going to kill us anyway. I'm not doing anything. Until he found out that Arya was in danger.
Yeah. So he cares for Arya, clearly.
And so when he found out she was in danger, he ran to her rescue.
I like that.
If it weren't for him, she would have definitely bit it in the library.
This is where I say Melisandre turned the tide, though. Arya runs into another room where Melisandre is and Beric Dondarrion and the Hound. The Hound bars the door, and Arya's like, I know you. You told me I was going to kill a lot of men, and I did. And you told me we were going to meet again, and that happened too. You were right both times. And Melisandre says to her, yes, I told you were going to kill men with green eyes, brown eyes, and blue.
And then Arya got that look on her face like, I understand.
Yeah, so basically, Melisandre's whole purpose was to come back because she's seen the future. She can see the future in the flames.
And Melisandre also said the one thing that, what was the guy who was teaching Arya how to sword fight?
Oh, Sarah Farrell. She says, what do we say to death? Not today. And Arya just gets the message.
And runs off somewhere. You don't know where she's going.
So, what was... Okay, let me ask you something. What was John... They successfully predicted that the Night King was coming after Bran. And he had people to defend Bran. But what was his ultimate... We know for sure... Excuse me. We know for sure that Arya wasn't part of his plan. Because Melisandre gave her that idea. So what was his plan on killing the Night King? Was he just going to wait for him to get there and just torch the whole little courtyard with Bran down there?
Who, Jon?
Yeah.
Jon's plan?
Whoever came up with this plan, because it was a bad plan, I think, for the most part.
I think in Jon's mind was he was going to go down there and kill him with his sword, which... That hasn't worked for anybody to this point. Except one person. Y'all, our girl Arya.
So, wait a minute. So, Theon is defending Bran.
Oh, yes, we must
Bran
is
sitting under the weirwood tree waiting because he knows the Night King's coming. And Theon and some other archers, they're all like picking off all these whites.
And they're showing the Night King and his White Walkers coming in, through Winterfell, coming to the garden where the weirwood tree is, where Bran is. And you see that progression, and the camera's going back to Theon fighting off the whites that have gotten in there. And doing a pretty good job, if I do say so, by himself.
Yeah, until he ran out of arrows.
Well, he was still fighting with that spear. Remember? Because he was still fighting him with the spear, keeping there. And Bran is gone somewhere in this time period. He's wharfed off to somewhere.
Into the birds to see what was going on.
But
I think he can see the future though, because. He thanks Theon for his service because he knows Theon's whole purpose and every way, because Theon apologizes to him and he's like, no, you did everything you could just to be at this moment.
Everything that's happened to you, so
he apparently knows what's going to happen to Theon. So the Night King kills Theon and walks up to Bran. And
that was a long drawn out scene where they were just looking at each other for like 30 seconds.
But it looked like he had won. This Game of Thrones, man. it would have been the perfect ending for him to kill Bran. Because then you're like, oh my God, what the freak are they going to do now?
But then you hear,
yeah, Arya jumps out of nowhere.
Comes flying out of nowhere.
And he grabs her by the neck. And you're like, okay. So that we're not going to have this one of those last minute things.
And he's got her hand, and then she drops and does the double.
Yeah. She stabs him with the Valyrian dagger that they tried to kill Bran with.
That Bran ended up giving to Arya.
Yeah. That belonged to Littlefinger.
That dagger has made its way around.
Yeah. So I like that. That was a nice touch.
And then...
So apparently, yeah, he dies. Because I guess he made all the other White Walkers. They all die. And all the whites die. And I was totally upset about all of this. Because I was led to believe in the books and on the show that the point of this entire series was this long night that was coming, and the White Walkers were the real enemy. So now we got 3 episodes left
to finish the Game of Thrones. The Game of Thrones.
The big threat is gone. You think Cersei's a bigger threat than the White Walkers?
Well, no, but I think that you got to put the cherry on top, and that's the rest of the players that are left figuring out who's going to sit on that throne.
I just
because you still got to have the confrontation between Dany and Jon. You still got to have Cersei defeated, and Arya or Jaime or somebody or Tyrion. One of them is going to kill Cersei. The prophecy said it was going to be her little brother.
Yeah.
So
that was in the books. I don't know if they're going to do that on the show,
but
that would be satisfying to see Jaime kill her.
But this episode ends
because if you think about it, everything started with them. In a lot of ways.
With who?
Jaime and Cersei. Don't pushing Bran out the window. That
started the whole Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Because had they not done that, then Catelyn wouldn't have...
I mean, Littlefinger started the Game of Thrones, but one of the reasons he was able to start it was because he knew their secret, and he knew how to exploit it. You know, he poisoned Jon Arryn, knowing that Jon Arryn had found out the truth too, knowing that Jaime and Cersei would be blamed for his death, and that Eddard Stark would go to Winterfell to investigate.
Right.
And at a certain point, he knew that he would manipulate things so that Ned Stark died and would start this war with the North. And somehow, within all this crazy politicking, he would gain more and more status.
Well, now there's going to be a whole lot of now Sansa's going to want some answers from Daenerys on what her plans are, and there's a lot of information to still cover, and
who's going to be. I just don't. I'm pretty sure at this point that they didn't get these ideas from George R.R. Martin, because I got a feeling that the books are going to be a lot different, and that
he's working on book 6 now, right?
7.
He's on book 7.
None. Is it? Yeah, it is 6. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's on book 6, and he's got to write 7 too, right?
Yeah. So we're not going to get 7. He'll be 90 something before he finished that last book. He'll die. So I just don't know. I mean, this whole series, they've been talking about winter coming, and winter is coming. They've said that 50 times. And John said this is the real fight.
Well, maybe winter.
So now the conflict has got to be between him and Dany. Who's going to be, or are they going to be king and queen together. Because it's not out of, if you know anything about Targaryen history, Targaryens marry each other.
Right.
Like the brothers and daughters.
Yeah.
To keep their bloodlines pure, so to speak. You know, that's why that's what created the Mad King, because he's inbred. So every other generation they birth the king that's inbred, so inbred that he's crazy, or so the theory is. So are they gonna get together? They're not sister and brother, but
we're gonna have to wait and find out. Till
it's only 3 episodes,
so we'll be back to do this again next week,
right?
For episode 4.
Oh no, we won't.
We won't.
We'll see.
Okay. But comment and subscribe to Paul's channel, and I guess that's all we got for today.
That's all we got. It was okay episode. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed, but I got a lot of questions. So I'll hold my judgment till the last episode, I guess. But that's all we got for today, and we will see you when we see you, and thanks for watching.
Bye.